All right, we are live from the HousingWire news desk at MBA Annual, and I'm thrilled to welcome Kevin Kauffman of Freddie Mac to this edition of HousingWire Instant Impact. Kevin, could you briefly introduce yourself and Freddie Mac?
Yeah, great. So first off, thanks for having us. Really excited to be here. My name's Kevin Kauffman. I head up seller engagement for Freddie Mac. And so what that entails is responsibility over all of our seller engagement from a relationship perspective, all of the technology partnerships throughout the entire ecosystem, marketing, communications, and essentially all things that surround the customer to Freddie Mac. I've been here about 7 years. I've been in the industry 25 years, so
wow.
Different areas, building mortgage technology for about 10 of those years, including functions in the primary and secondary side. So kind of been all over.
So digging into that technology, how is Freddie Mac deploying technology to increase affordability and access to credit?
Yeah, so a lot of different ways. Our flagship product is LPA, and kind of everything starts with that. So we see that as the hub to be able to drive information to and from our customers in order to create opportunities of eligibility for loans sold to Freddie Mac. And so when you look at that, we've added a lot of different things from cash flow analysis, leveraging asset data, leveraging income data to create greater opportunities than we have in the past. And then you look at other things that we've launched that are standalone products like DPA One. So DPA One is a program where we go out and we source all of the down payment assistance solutions that are out in the entire market. So every state that you can think of, municipalities, how they provide down payment assistance, that being the number one barrier to overall opportunities of home ownership for low and moderate income borrowers. So we've created that tool to really put in the hands of loan officers that put us in a position to say, if you're not aware, this down payment assistance program is available for your consumer that can help them get in a home. And so we source that all in one place and allow them to take advantage of it instead of trying to figure out and understand all the different moving pieces that are in the industry. A couple additional pieces that we've added here recently. One that we announced yesterday at this event is called LPA Choice. So LPA Choice is a program where if you submit a loan to LPA, historically, what you would see would be a reason that borrower was not eligible for sale to Freddie Mac. And as a part of that, you would see it's because of DTI, it could be because of LTV, it could be because of multiple reasons. And loan officers and underwriters would kind of have to figure out, how close am I? How many times do I have to submit back to LPA? And so we've kind of opened it up, and we're actually providing what I would refer to as fair lending back to the market by leveraging LPA. And we're saying, if you're really close on income, we're helping you get to that point faster, which then is allowing you to make the best credit decision possible for that consumer. So we have three main areas, which is loan to value, reserves, and income. So now we're helping borrowers get to that loan faster by connecting them to the loan officer in a way that has never been done before.
From your position, you look across the whole mortgage industry,
Yeah.
You see a lot of lenders, you interact with a lot of lenders. What do you see that's differentiating the lenders that are more innovative when it comes to technology and those that maybe are a little bit more slow to adopt technology?
And I think there's many variables that go into that. And so I think as we are here today, you see a lot of different technology providers. And as a part of that, there's commercial solutions. Then there's also those lenders who have proprietary solutions. What we find is those who are investing into not just the technology, but the process of how it all works, that really sets them apart. But folks have to try things, they have to learn things, they have to find a way that is not what we're doing today. And that's what kind of sets folks apart from, it's the technology's enabling it, but we have to look at it from a behavioral standpoint. And so folks who are leaning in and trying things, failing fast and moving on to the next aspect, that's really what's setting apart those who are a part of the entire process, the good versus the bad.
The opposite side of that question, what are the barriers that you're seeing some lenders struggle with when it comes to technology adoption, reducing costs, reducing cycle times?
Yeah, and I think they're tied, right? So it is the other side of that coin, but I think where folks have struggled historically have really been because they're trying to take this new incredible technology and they're trying to force it into their existing process. And so as long as I've been building technology, involved in technology. It's so interesting to me from the standpoint of folks say, hey, can you make the button blue? Because our button's blue today. And that's an exaggeration, but that's exactly what we're trying to do, is force new technologies into existing broken processes. And I think where folks are really successful, they're thinking about innovating their process beyond the technology. And that barrier really, really makes a difference. And so you have different views of how to implement tools, and you have the compliance aspect of everything, and you have to be compliant, you have to be responsible. It is about managing the risk of the industry. That applies to all of these tools as well, but creating an opportunity to look at it and say, how do I remove a step? Not add a step, not add a provider that comes at a cost, but how do I take this for the value that it is and remove specific steps in that process? And that's where I think folks have a hard time, because we've been doing the same thing for so long. Folks get comfortable, and change is difficult. And I think as we look at those things and what the opportunities are, it's try something different in order to get a different outcome, and folks have a hard time with that.
It's been a really interesting conference, a lot of forecasting about 2025. What are the emerging trends that you see that are either getting in the way of lenders being able to reduce costs or helping lenders reduce costs in 2025?
Yeah, so again, there's a lot of different areas, and I think why we came out with LPA Choice, it's not just creating that fair lending, it's creating the opportunity to reduce steps in that process. And so you can point to a lot of different areas where cost is high. We announced an expansion of our ACE solution to go from 80% to 90%, and what we're trying to do is find ways to identify those solutions that do not add to risk, but at the same time create that efficiency. And I think from an industry perspective, the one cool thing that you see here, and as we look out across the crowd, is there's competition. Mm-hmm. And competition breeds innovation.
Oh, that's a good point.
And so when we look at all of these different things, folks are really taking a step forward in a way that if they do those things we talked about earlier, implement, reduce steps, reduce costs, change behavior, you can take any one of these tools and find a way to make yourself successful as a lender. And as we go into 25, we are changing the market, right? So we've been in a purchase-heavy market for the last several years. We're gearing up. Folks expect rates to change. I think it's, we saw the Fed change their rates. We expect a little bit more. We saw a little boost. And as we go into next year, when we get to that point, we'll really determine how folks lean in from a new market perspective, being a purchase heavy to refi, and the balance between those two, and creating more opportunities for borrowers.
I'm sensing some cautious optimism about 2025, which is great because it's been a tough couple of years. I think the key is growth. Right? Everyone wants to grow. How can Freddie Mac help lenders grow their business?
Yeah, so what I'll share is we have been hyper-focused on helping sellers and how they do business with Freddie Mac. It has been the key to our success. And what that means is we want to be more than a transactional GSE. So we're not here just to purchase your loan. We're here to make sure that you understand all of the variables that go into leveraging technology to mitigate risk. And so we've developed a program that we refer to as a trusted advisor program, where we deploy bodies on site to help lenders figure out what their cost is in any specific area, and then say, is this an area where you need to focus? And so if a pay stub and W-2 solution is 60% of your loans, but you can automate that through OCR, calculated information that Freddie Mac returns and says thumbs up, thumbs down, why are you spending so much time treating everything the same way? And so we help them devise a plan with the industry providers. And so the cool part is not only do I have that responsibility over the sellers in the industry, I have that responsibility over the partnerships. And that allows us to leverage those partnerships in a way to bring everybody to the table that any lender is using, and say we all have a role to play in this in order to drive to an outcome. And so we're seeing a reduction in cost, we're also seeing a reduction in defects. And so that process, it's a major positive for us, because the better the quality, the better the industry, the better Freddie Mac is, and the better the lender is.
Amazing. Kevin, it's been so great catching up with you today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.